Hey guys, in this video we'll be having a look at the Rapala X-Light Mid running crank. We'll have a look at its performance underwater and I'll give you my opinion on it after using it for a couple of months. Let's have a look. The Rapala X-Light crank is part of the X-Light series, which are smaller, more finesse-oriented baits, but are also slightly more cost-effective or more affordable at the same time. The Rapala X-Light mid-running crank is available in a variation of different colors. I tend more towards the more natural colors, and these are a selection of the ones I do prefer, or I throw because they're slightly more natural and slightly more subtle color, but there's a whole range of them out there. This body shape is also available in 3 different depths. This is the mid-running version, but there's also a shallow running version and a deep running version. Now, unfortunately, the deep running version is not available in my country, or specifically available in South Africa, but they are available in Asia, America, and Europe. According to Rapala, the running depth for this is 1.8 to 2.1 meters, but I'll discuss this again later in the usage section. It has a body length of 35 millimeters and supposed to clock in at exactly 4 grams, but does tip the scale just slightly over 4 grams. Before we talk about my experience with the lure, let's have a look at the X-Light's action underwater. The X-Light mid-runner, even at a slow roll, does have a very prominent wiggle to it, and it will shake your rod quite a fair bit even at a slower roll. And if you have a shiny model, you'll see it does have quite a bit of flash to it. Now, if you up your retrieve speed to a more moderate speed or even a high speed, you'll notice that the lure has an even more pronounced, even more aggressive wiggle to it. That does cause quite a lot of vibration and quite a lot of rattle to it. There are 2 internal rattles in that the main first cavity of the lure, and you do very much hear that even outside of the water. And it does have a very nice pronounced wiggle, especially if you look at it from below as we are here. Now, because this is a floating lure, it will have absolutely no action if you just let it sit there, but it will rise to the surface if you do retrieve it and pause. It is a very slow rise, but it will rise to the surface. So you can use it to avoid obstacles or avoid structure if you'd like to. So what do I think of the Rapala X-Light mid-running crank? My feelings are a little bit mixed. I'll show you this specific one, as this is my favorite color as well. You'll notice that as I lift it up there are the 2 internal rattles inside the main cavity. And they are quite loud, but as you can see here, let me just angle that right there, the lip has started to become a little bit cloudy. Now, this is the one I throw most often, and for some reason this lip has become cloudy and a little bit stained. I don't know why that is, and you can also see a little bit of stress fracturing there. I'm guessing that's a byproduct of the injection process and the plastic being under tension within that mold. I'm thinking that a mild annealing process might help that a little bit, but I'm unsure. It's not going to have a major impact on the fishing ability of this lure, but I do think it's a little bit of an eyesore. But it is definitely a cost-effective lure, as it's one of the cheaper lures in Rapala's range, so I'm not going to be too unhappy about that. At the end of the day, you're going to end up losing them eventually, so having an ugly or not very aesthetically pleasing lip is not the end of the world at all. This clear model is my absolute favorite, specifically for clear or gin clear water, as it does have a very subtle presentation. The lure does have a very prominent wiggle to it, so you can slow roll it and that'll slow that wiggle down quite a bit, but it is a lure for actively hunting fish. It's not subtle, it is a little bit shouty. I do very much like the colors these lures are available in, specifically the more natural or more muted colors. And this does, with a little bit of blue on the olive, the clear body, and a little bit of gold color shift on a white belly, does create a very effective little shad or little bait fish profile and color to it. So I very much like this version. Like the UL Shad Wrap I reviewed recently, it does have slightly oversized split rings that do tend to bend out a little bit easier than they should. So they're kind of cheap-ish split rings. Now, for the price, I'm not going to complain, and I'm very likely to swap out these split rings for smaller ones and higher quality ones. The VMC hooks on these guys are very good or very nice. Now, because of the slightly oversized split rings and the very short distance between the middle and the rear hook hanger, the hooks do have a tendency to hook onto each other or foul up that way. They hook and unhook each other very easily, so it's something to be aware of. As you fish it, you do need to keep an eye on that. Other than that, the performance of the lure makes me very happy. It has a very prominent wiggle, it'll draw attention. I have caught quite a bit of fish on these before, and I'm very happy with their performance, especially at the price. Does Rapala cut corners a little bit to make this lure work at the price point? I think they do. Slightly lower quality split rings that are a bit too big, and the manufacturing process that results in the crazing or the cracking in the lip. It doesn't make me particularly happy, but it's not a long-term investment. I mean, we lose lures all the time. So that doesn't make me particularly unhappy. The fact that the lure is available at this very low price, that makes me very happy. I very much appreciate that Rapala brings an affordable lure to market. And I'm very happy paying the price that they do ask for this, for the quality that I am receiving. Would I buy them again? Yeah, I bought a bunch of these. I very much like them. So would I recommend the Rapala X-Light Mid running crank? I definitely think so. For a very modest investment price, you get a good performing lure that has drawing power, does have a very prominent wiggle, does have a loud rattle to it, does have a high quality finish. Even though the split rings are not great quality, it costs a cent or two to replace those, so it's not the end of the world. The lip's starting to get a little bit cloudy, doesn't really bug me that much. I'll probably lose it before it eventually breaks. And I put about 6 months of use on this already, and it doesn't seem like it's going to break, so I'm not too concerned with that either. So for a very modest investment, I'm getting a lure that performs very well, even at very low to very high speeds, and will catch fish. I have caught quite a bit of fish on this already. The running depth does vary quite a bit depending on your retrieve speed. I found with short distance casts on still standing water, it doesn't quite reach Rapala's 1.8 meter minimum diving depth, but it will run quite deep on faster moving water. So that's something to be aware of as well. It might run deeper than you expect it to, but in that case you might just swap to the shallow running model and you can avoid structure or rocks or getting snagged up that way. So would I recommend it? I definitely think so. I think it's for the money you're paying, getting a good solid performing lure. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you like this sort of content, feel free to subscribe. There will be more coming soon. Thank you.